All right, you guys out there in YouTube land, I'm interviewing my Uncle Lynn from Rockford, Illinois. He got a speeding ticket, and I taught him how to use the U.C.C. code, and he's going to tell you a little bit about it. Now, the video might be a little groggy with the voices and so forth because the reception sometimes goes in and out and bad, so bear with us on this. Hey, Uncle Lynn, how you doing?
Okay, how you doing, Kevin?
Good, good, good. All right, let's start off by telling the people, the date you got your ticket and what happened and what you did.
Well, on December 10th, 2012, I received a speeding ticket in Winnebago County in Illinois. This is the ticket that I received, and I tried to tell the officer I wasn't speeding, and he told me, well, you can come to court and fight this. I decided that I would go to court and fight it, and I contacted Kevin, and he told me about the U.C.C. code, and I decided I'd use that manner to fight it. So on your ticket, it gives you a pre-court date that they want you to come, which was going to be 5 weeks after the date of getting my ticket, which was going to be January 17, 2013. So I wrote out a letter, and this is the letter, and I sent the letter to the Winnebago County clerk and the attending judge for traffic court, and stated that I was going to be using the U.C.C. code 1-308, formerly 1-207. And in the letter, I said the presentment of the Illinois citation and complaint ticket number is a dishonor. Lynn H. Zachary has reserved all of his rights under the Uniform Commercial Code and U.C.C. 1-308, formerly 1-207. The defendant requests bail on his own recognizance without prejudice, U.C.C. Code 1-308. And I had the letter notarized, and I sent this to the Winnebago County Circuit Clerk. They sent me back a hearing notice and set me up a date, and this is the hearing notice, and set me up a date to appear in court for March 14, 2013, which was approximately 4 months after the time, 3 months after the time that I originally received the ticket.
Okay, now see how they do the system there is, he was telling me that they take your license, you don't sign for your ticket like we do in California. But he said they can do it, if they want to do it, but they usually don't, depending on how they feel about you or whatever. So it's a little different system. Now, I taught him how to say, ask for an own recognizance, which means, or for your bail, so you don't have to put any money up. But their system was different there. So they gave him a pre-trial hearing thing to come and to do that. Now, what happened, Lynn, when you went to go research the code at the library in Rockford?
I went to the law library downtown at the Winnebago County Courthouse to research the code, and I was told that they didn't have that particular code in their library. So they gave me a little bit of information. I looked up some things, so I researched it over the internet. So I came back home and I called Kevin, and he told me a particular code that I needed, which was the Anderson law portion of that code. I went back to the library a second time and asked for the Anderson code. And what I was told was that they had it at one time, but it was checked out, and it evidently was never brought back, is what I was told, which seemed kind of strange to me, since this library is used by all the district attorneys and lawyers and everything there, and you have to check out the information. So I would think that it was brought back, or they would have more than one copy of this particular statute.
Well, see that? The book disappeared at the law library. So I went down to my law library downtown LA by the courthouse on Hill Street, and I made copies and I sent it to him, and so he used that. All right, so let's move on. So you got to the pre-trial, and what happened? at the
When
point?
I got to the pre-trial, the assistant district attorney had the letter that I had originally sent, and he showed it to the judge, and they were like, "Well, what is this? We've never heard of this. What is this Uniform Commercial Code? That's a commercial law. That's about finances. That's about money." So I proceeded to try to explain to them exactly what it was. And the judge stopped me and said, "Oh, we can't talk about this right now. You and I, we can get together and we can talk about this at a later date." And I'm saying to myself, when are we going to get together and speak about this at a later date? It's not like we're buddies or something. We're going to the bar and speak on this. And basically, I think what they were doing was they didn't want anyone out in the gallery to be privy to this information about the U.C.C. codes. So they didn't want me to speak on it out in public. So he then asked me, well, wouldn't you just like to just plead guilty and pay this? And I proceeded to ask him, well, what would that cost me? And he gave me a price of approximately $275. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't want to do that. And so they then gave me another court date, which was May 14th, to appear and come to court. And they gave me an option of having a bench trial or a jury trial. I took the bench trial method. I had originally considered doing the jury trial method, but I didn't want to go through all the process of them having to pick the jury and all that.
Okay.
So.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So that's basically what happened that day.
Now they had you come back. So this is the part. So you came back on the next trial. What did they tell you?
When I got back on the 14th of May, they had scheduled my time for late in the afternoon. And when I got there approximately half an hour early, and supposedly they were running an hour and a half late. So I was supposed to be there at 2:30, and they didn't call me up until 4:30. 4 o'clock, excuse me. So when the judge called me up, the district attorney proceeded to say, "Oh, Lynn, that's generally a female's name. I have a friend whose name is Lynn, and you and he are the only males that I ever know that have that name." And the judge chuckles, yeah, that's right. And then they looked at my address and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know where that address is," and so forth and so on. And so then the judge says, "Well, you know what? This is a good day for you. This whole thing is going to be dismissed." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." He says, "You're free to go now." So at the previous trial, I had to post $120 bond to get my license back. They wouldn't allow me to have my license on my own recognizance. So I had to post $120 to get them back because the expiration date on the ticket had expired. So I then asked him, "Well, what about my $120? And he's like, oh yeah, just tell the clerk, all that will be refunded and you'll get that back." So he said, "You'll get it within 10 days, which I did. This is a copy of the check that they sent me back for my $120. So it was all dismissed and dropped after it taking about 5 months.
See, guys, that's it. That's how it works. Okay. See how they dragged them around and they don't want people to know about it and this and that, but it works. Okay, and that's the bottom line. I want to keep the video short for you all out there, but also too, I want to tell you and plug my movies. You all have to watch ADFR 100th Anniversary. It's a movie on the Federal Reserve, and it's the 100th anniversary because it started in 1913. And I teach you the history of it, who was behind it, who owns it today, the Illuminati, Freemasons. I talk about all of it in the American history, all the way from like 1500 to now. And then my actual first movie was called Parking Tyranny. It's about the LA corruption of the ticket officers or meter maids in Los Angeles. It's all on YouTube, so punch it in. You have the information right there. Support me on that and watch it and share that, because that ADFR, it doesn't matter who you are, you all should be watching that. thank you, Uncle Lynn, very much. I really appreciate it. Your time and sharing your story with us quickly on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Cal.